This morning, we're making our way 8.5 hours south to Alton, Utah. This will be our center point for the next week to explore 3 of the mighty 5 national parks in Utah. Our first main stop of the trip was obviously lunch. We stopped at Fat Daddy's Pizzeria in Provo, Utah, and it was simply to die for. And that's saying something because I am not a pizza person. This stop was all for Cody. We stayed at a quaint Airbnb called Starlit Ridge, and they have several units, and they are perfect for traveling to Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park. If you're into astrophotography or stargazing at all, this is the perfect Airbnb. There is no light pollution out here, and we had so many deer visitors throughout our time. We're starting at Sunset Point, Navajo Loop. Here we go. We began our first full day in the park at Sunset Point, and our plan was to hike the Navajo and Queens Garden Loop. We originally wanted to do Wall Street, but it was closed while we were here, so we opted for the Queens Garden Loop as well. And I mean, look at these hoodoos. I almost cried, and I almost am crying looking back at this because I just can't believe that I finally got to see it. There was definitely a lot more people than I expected here. A lot of photographers capturing the sunrise over these orange and red hoodoos, and also a lot of hikers beginning their hikes before the desert got too hot. So Wall Street is closed now, so we're going down to two places and just gonna go around. Cody! Alright. We came out of the Hoodoos, so now we're climbing back up to get back to the Sunset Point to finish our loop. Woo-hoo! After finishing that first hike, we made our way to Bryce Point, which is just a short walk from the parking area to get a different view of the Hoodoos. I had no idea what to expect from Paria View, but honestly, it was one of my favorite spots. A, because we had the thing completely to ourselves, and B, because look at the size of these hoodoos. It was just incredible. I love that probably half of our US national parks have a hike or a lookout called Inspiration Point. If you've been to Yellowstone, you know what I'm talking about. And we stopped here. This has three different tiers. You can opt for the lower view, the middle view, and the upper view. Recommend doing all three. It is a little steep, especially if you're not used to the 8,000 feet of elevation, like we aren't, but it was definitely worth the stop. Our last stop in Bryce Canyon National Park was the Bristlecone Loop, and we combined it with Yovimpa Point and Rainbow Point just because it's all right there from the same parking lot. And this is Cody's fast run, but this was probably one of my favorites just because it's unique. You have the bristlecone pines, which are such cool trees, and then you kind of have the red and orange hoodoos and rock formations mixed in there. And there was a lot of interpretive signs, which was really fun to stop and read and kind of feel, some of the history there. We are making our way back to the car. We just did the bristlecone loop, the Ovimpa Point, and Rainbow Point loop. So that was all that I had on the Bryce Canyon itinerary. So we're going to see what we can go find to do. And half a day later, that will conclude our time in Bryce Canyon National Park. I originally planned 2 full days in the park to explore, but we only needed about a half a day. So, in the next video, there's a little bit of a side quest that you'll see, and it was totally worth it. Red Canyon has a little visitor center. By the time we got there that evening, it was closed, but we hiked the Pink Ledges Trail, which is just right behind the visitor center. And I honestly think it was so much cooler than Bryce Canyon as far as color and formations go. Like, these were just absolutely beautiful. we went down the road just a couple of miles to the Photo and Bird's Eye Loop trail. So, Photo takes you up to this little rock formation that's a great photo spot. And then you go back down and carry on to Bird's Eye View Trail. And that also can connect to the visitor center trails, but we decided to break it up into two. We rounded off our day with some milkshakes from Henry's in the town of Panguitch, and it was a great first day to exploring Utah's national parks.